Hello, hello. All right, so I'm on here. Normally I stay away from color stuff, but I mean, as you can see, I'm a Black woman, and I just felt like I had to weigh in on this. I was just watching the Eboni K. Williams interview on The Breakfast Club, and she was kind of explaining, I guess she was on talking to Ayanna Van Sant, and the woman asked her, would you date a bus driver? And she said no. And then, of course, everyone in the Black community, or a lot of people, were just offended, and they wanted to talk about how, what was wrong with a bus driver, and bus drivers are good people, and na 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 na. So I wanted to comment on that because I think that we are unfair as a people. Like, Black women are made to feel like we have to be willing to work with people and grow with people. And, when you are young, that sounds great, and who knows, maybe that's why I'm single. But, when you're in your 20s, I'll give you even 30s, but I'm sorry, I'm 48. And if the words generational wealth are not in your vernacular, then you and I could not build or grow together. I'm not interested in, and I'm not saying that certain professions, are off limits, because I really don't care what you do. Okay. So you could be a bus driver, you could be a teacher like me, you could be a business owner. But my thing is, where is your mindset around money? Because that is very important to me. So if you are into spending money on cars and houses and vacations, and you can't speak intelligently about 401k and retirement, and you are in your 40s, your late 40s, then that is a problem, and that is a turn off to me. So I don't care what your actual job is, but I do think that we need to be more cognizant of future thinking, especially the older we get. And so I get what she was saying, because her pushback was, well, she wouldn't date a bus driver, but she would date someone who owns the bus. And I guess that came off as like very elitist and stuff. But I feel like that's not fair, that as Black women, we can't have a certain standard and say, hey, we want somebody who's coming to the table with as much as we have. Like, I don't think that that's an unfair thing. We are in a different position than women of other races. We have been sometimes unintentionally forced to handle entire households. So yes, if I have a house, do I want you to have a house? I do. Or at least have had a house and be able to explain, why don't you have one now? Maybe because financially you felt like that wasn't the best decision. You decided to do something else with your money. But the idea that we are building together, we can build together, but if we're on totally different mindsets, then it just feels like it will be a struggle. And I have met men my own age who could not speak intelligently about retirement plans. They don't know anything about investing. They're counting on a pension maybe, or they do have a 401k, but they don't even know what they're invested in. And these are the same people who are like spending hundreds of dollars a month on eating out and clothes and shoes. And, after a point, like, don't you want to have something that you can pass on to your kids and your grandkids and their kids? And so that is not shade to anybody in their profession, because I think it's much more connected to your mindset. And so I think what she was saying was, she was trying to partner with someone who was similar to her. I don't know her whole story, but I'm thinking she must be an entrepreneur. I know she's an author, at least. And so maybe when she said she would want a man who owns the bus, she was just thinking she wanted someone who was also an entrepreneur and things like that. And I feel like as Black people, we cannot be that touchy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get it. Yes, there are blue collar workers who are amazing people, and there is no shade to that. But if you just spent, 40 years and your life goal is to collect a pension and sit on your porch, there is nothing wrong with that. But that's not my goal, which means you're not going to understand, why I want more property, or why I'm investing in the stock market, or, why I'm trying to create passive income through digital resources. And I feel like the older you get, you are just more aware of what's going to work and what's not going to work. And why set yourself up for failure? That's not saying that because someone doesn't have the same money goals as you, that there's something wrong with them. It just means you're just not compatible. And I think in the Black community, we need to just be honest with ourselves and say that this is not a matter of elitism or, people thinking they're better than other people. But I think it's a matter of compatibility. And people who have not had similar experiences may not be compatible. And so, and I'm not saying that, I need to meet somebody who also went to college or who makes a certain amount of money, but I do need to meet somebody whose mindset is similar to mine. So I need to meet somebody who the words generational wealth are a part of their vocabulary. Like it's a part of the way they move and how they make decisions regarding their time, their energy, and their money. And I think that, again, as Black women, the older we get, we should not feel the need to have to explain who we want to date and who we don't want to date. And for those people who want to come for you because they've misunderstood what you said, or even if that's really what you meant, so what? Like, even if the woman really was like, you know what, I don't want to date a bus driver, so what? And maybe, people were in her comments saying that's why you're single. She seemed okay to me. Like, I don't think she's, super sad about her relationship status. So again, I know this is a little off topic because I don't usually get on here and talk about racial stuff, but I just felt like I wanted to say that and give, if there's any, young Black women watching this, give you permission to date who you want to date and not feel like you have to justify who you're dating and why. Like me personally, I would never want to date like a professional athlete or like a very successful businessman, because I just think that they would come with a lot of issues. Like yes, there might be some that are really nice and they're not womanizers and they're not in the limelight. But for me, I just would rather not take that chance. And I would rather have someone who was a little more low key, who wasn't kind of out and about. And not to mention, I watch sports, but really, I don't know if I would have a lot in common with a guy who was a professional athlete. Like, I think that they tend to look for a particular type of woman in particular. She tends to be like kind of girly girl and, she's in the hair and clothes and, they tend to be fashionable sometimes and they want somebody who's fashionable, and that would not be me. And so I don't know. I can't imagine. And I'm definitely stereotyping here. So I know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I can't imagine dating a professional athlete, and us being able to talk about the latest books we saw or we read and him recommending stuff. And I know that I might be missing out. There might be some wonderful professional athlete out there who could, blow my mind with his selection of books he's read and movies he's watched and places he's traveled. But I'm okay seeing that, that's probably not, if that is who I'm supposed to meet, then we probably will meet in a way that allows us to connect on what we have in common and not have it revolve around, like his profession or my profession. But sorry for the sniffling. My allergies are kicking my butt. But again, I just wanted to say that I did steer off topic just a little. I promise moving forward, I will be focusing on minimalism, money, and teaching. But I just had to just speak to Black women and just say, we do not have to justify who we want to date. You date who you want to date. Don't feel like you have to be explaining why you like certain things and why you don't like other things and worrying about how that's being perceived by other people. So what? So what? It's okay. At the end of the day, if you can sleep at night based on your decisions, that is what matters. So, all right. Until later, as always, be grateful. Bye-bye.